Coming up on Fresno State Focus, SNAP recipients may be seeing delays in their benefits. We'll show you where students can still get their food and other necessities.
And we take a look at how getting involved in voting makes a difference and how you can still get your vote in.
Plus, we talk about how parking may not actually be a college issue. We show you there are tons of spots that students simply choose not to use. Fresno State Focus starts now. Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Evan Prater.
And I'm Chelsea Broderick. It's day 29 of the federal shutdown, and there are several changes that could affect students and your community.
The November CalFresh benefits are delayed. As the federal government shutdown continues, all benefits are being paused until Congress reopens the government. Millions of Californians receiving CalFresh benefits are likely noticing their benefits are impacted. The Fresno State Health and Wellness Center has some advice for students struggling with these delays.
So we understand that the delay of these benefits are worrisome to many of our students, many of their families, many people that they know and care for. And so there's a couple of different resources on campus that students can benefit from.
Students seeking help from the Health and Counseling Center can pay a visit to their dietitian. If you're experiencing shelter or financial instability, look into assistance from the Center for Essential Needs. These services are here for students year-round.
The Fresno State Cupboard is another resource for students. They can get free food every day right here on campus. Jasmine Alvarado highlights the renovations made to the students' cupboard and how it is a resource to students.
Free food for students. That's what the Amendola Family Student Cupboard has to offer. But that's not all.
The best part, besides the free food, is just how community-based it is here.
It also provides a welcoming environment for all who enter with thoughtfully painted murals on the walls.
My goal was just to have it be like a mural and art, and I really wanted students to do it so that it could go back to students and it could showcase that the cupboard really is for students and it's the hub of like where students go.
With stock including fresh produce like apples and bananas to dairy options. The line to get in starts before the cupboard even opens and wraps around the exterior. The student cupboard coordinator says this resource helps students succeed in their college journey.
You can get a snack between classes and not have to worry about purchasing something, right? It's again, maybe I can go focus on my test or my homework or whatever it is.
And with the new murals on the walls, it's now a grander representation of the Fresno State community with a project initiated by Associated Students Incorporated. Now, the student cupboard can be a little bit difficult to access. So you want to start at the northeast corner of the Industrial Tech Building, and you're going to go down a hallway. So once you go down the hallway, it's a little bit dark, but trust me, you're going the right way. So once you get to the end of the hallway, you are going to make a left. And once you make that left, the door will be on your left again. So then you make it here to the door. So reporting at the student cupboard, I'm Jasmine Alvarado, Fresno State Focus.
If you want to visit the student cupboard, it's open Monday through Friday.
The California statewide special election on Proposition 50 is less than a week away. Gregory Abella spoke with the Fresno County clerk to get some information for last-minute voters.
Voters will decide if Prop 50 passes or fails next Tuesday.
I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot of people for and against it. You know, I know I'm not super familiar with it. You know, I know some, but I heard it's about like the redistricting of California, and they're trying to get more Democratic votes.
Ballots for Fresno County voters went out weeks ago, so if you haven't returned yours yet, there's still time.
I've heard a lot of negatives. I heard a lot of positives.
No matter where you stand on Prop 50, get your ballot to one of the many drop boxes located throughout Fresno County, or visit one of the vote centers where election workers are ready to assist you.
So people can come in, they can register to vote, they can vote in person, they can request a replacement ballot, or they can simply drop off their already voted ballot.
So this is a statewide special election called by the legislature to do a constitutional amendment. Voting is always the best way you have to get out there and have your voice heard. There's opportunities to protest or to go meet with your elected representatives, but actually voting is your direct participation in the Democratic and Republican process.
Vote centers are open now from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. Gregory Abella, Fresno State Focus.
To learn more about Prop 50 or to find the nearest voting center, visit votefresnocounty.com.
Parking is one of the most complained about topics at Fresno State. Ryan Leonardo shows us how the issue stems from students who don't seem to like to walk.
Students spend 30 to 40 minutes driving around in circles just to find a parking spot that is convenient to them. If students just took the time to park by the Save Mart Center, then they would find their spot so much easier. Derek Brantley is the parking and transportation manager at Fresno State, and he talks about how it would be easier just to go to the Save Mart Center.
I think that's how I would say it. We don't have a parking problem at Fresno State. Like I said, we have a ton of unused space every day, but based on our geography, most of it is on the east side of campus.
The east side of campus is where the Save Mart Center parking lot is located.
Monday through Thursday, if you're coming between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that is when I would recommend just head out to the Save Mart Center parking lot.
The Save Mart Center parking lot is pretty big, and yet there's very little cars that even park over here. As you can see behind me, there are a lot of open parking spots here in the Save Mart Center parking lot. That is due to the fact that many students would rather park in a parking lot that is near their class instead of coming way out here. Michael Gutierrez is one of those students who spends a lot of his time driving in circles to find a spot.
20 is middle of the day, it's the worst time to find parking. There's not a lot, especially with 11 o'clock is where I start my classes most of the time. Other college students start their classes. Everybody's trying to find parking. Nobody really follows like the parking structure.
To find a solution, Fresno State is planning to bring the shuttle back this November, and it will pick you up if you park in P1 to P2 or if you park in the Save Mart Center parking lot. Reporting from Fresno State, Ryan Leonardo, Fresno State Focus.
The Bulldog Shuttle is planned to start in early November and will be free for all students and faculty. This Sunday, clocks roll back and we get an extra hour of sleep. We also lose sunlight. With daylight saving time ending, it is your last chance to maximize your day and enjoy the sun while it is out. The sun shifts over the southern hemisphere, which means shorter days and colder nights. The shortest day of the year is December 21st. From then on, the daylight will last longer and will come back in March when we return to our clocks ahead 1 hour.
Coming up, we go down to the Tower District where we see spooky season in full swing, but with a twist.
Plus, we give you a live look at an ofrenda and why it is celebrated right here on campus.
And I bring you your focus on weather after the break.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
Okay, folks, this here is the 5th story of the Peters Building. I took this shot earlier today. It's absolutely beautiful out there, Bulldogs. Get out there, enjoy the weather while you can. It's absolutely gorgeous out there for this time of year. Moving on, we want to look at the national satellite. There's not a whole lot happening across the states, but down in the Caribbean, Hurricane Melissa is causing devastation in Cuba and Jamaica, so we hope everything turns out okay down there. Moving over to the Western satellite, again, not a whole lot happening on our side of the country, nice and clear, no systems coming in. And when we bring it in a little closer to home, today's highs, again, we have beautiful weather, high 70s, a couple of 80s, but we have absolutely gorgeous weather here in the valley. The overnight lows, look, it's not freezing, it's not cold, it's pretty nice overnight. And then over here, moving on to the air quality, all across the valley, it's good to moderate air quality, which is a good thing for everyone. And finally here, the extended 7-day outlook. On Friday, we have Halloween. The trick-or-treaters are gonna have fantastic weather. Take something warm, it might be a little chilly out there. Saturday is Dia de los Muertos, got a lot of fun stuff happening then. And then on Tuesday we got the vote. So get out there and do your thing as a voter.
The Halloween season is really ramping up right now as we head into Friday. Over the weekend in Tower District, people brought their dogs to Splash Parking Lot for this year's Pooch Costume Contest. Owners came to show off their dressed up dogs and everything from different animals to food to jack-o'-lanterns. The contest left many dogs excited to socialize as well as hungry. Vendors were also there to sell doggy clothes and keep treats to keep them energized. Here's another fun way to celebrate fall and get into the Halloween spirit. One farm just outside Fresno is in the spirit. Just off Highway 180 near Sanger, the Sunflower Farm Stand is giving people a hands-on way to enjoy the season. Visitors can pick up pumpkins and sunflowers and explore corn maze, feed goats, and even try launching pumpkins. Fall also celebrates other cultures. Kaya Walls is live at the Frank W. Thomas Building in room 111 for the Dia de los Muertos altar.
Hi Ryan, I'm here at the Thomas Building in room 111, and we're here for Dios de los Muertos. And right here, the Cross Cultures and Genders Center put together an ofrenda. And students and faculty were able to email the Cross and Gender Center to put frames of their loved ones, pets, family, everything on the ofrenda, and to honor and celebrate and appreciate their life. And along with the pictures is also pan dulce, pottery, frames. There's also painted skulls, and there's lots of color, lots of reds, lots of yellows, lots of purples and lilacs. It's all fiery, warm colors to celebrate life. And then right over here behind me, they also have, they're also giving away pins, and I have one right here for Hispanic Heritage Month. And you're also able to enter a giveaway when you check into the room. Free pins, free giveaway, and they also have frames for every day of the month. There's something there. And it's just good to remember other cultures during Halloween and celebrate lives of loved ones. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Kaya. Now we go back to the desk with Chelsea.
We all may come different backgrounds here on campus, but people share common interests in the freedom to read. Marvin Rodriguez takes a look at banned books and how staff are exploring this topic at Fresno State.
I hope that they don't take it for granted, all the information that they have access to.
In a quiet corner of the Fresno State Library, a simple whiteboard has a voice for readers. Covered in colorful notes and emotion, the display is part of a nationwide effort encouraging students to speak out against censorship and celebrate the freedom to read.
And even right here in Fresno County, we see that school and public libraries are being pressured to censor information, they're being pressured to ban books.
A display will stay up through the end of the month, encouraging students to think about the stories that shape their lives and the ongoing fight to keep them accessible to all.
Some books that were once taught in high school have now been banned. Things like The Giver, Catcher the Rye, and To Kill a Mockingbird. The question is, what book is next?
For one, you can't have a democracy if you don't have the freedom to read. What you choose to read and think and write and say is your business, not any government's business.
Librarians and faculty hope the event inspires students to stay curious and to understand the power of having access to different perspectives.
Digging in deep, I hope that people come away from this event more curious. Read more banned books. Learn about book banning, read about book banning, try to understand more of what's going on and what your role can be, both now and when you get out of school.
A message that goes beyond the shelves, encouraging students to read bravely and think freely. Reporting from the Fresno State Library, Marvin Rodriguez, Fresno State Focus.
To learn more about banned books and the library's ongoing display, visit the Fresno State Library website or check out their Instagram for upcoming events.
AI is one of the newest inventions that has limitless potential, both good and bad. Isaac Marquez shows us how Fresno State is handling this technology.
Artificial intelligence has made strides over the past few years. Students across the country are using programs like ChatGPT, Sora, Gemini, DeepSeek, and more for their classwork. Fresno State launched an AI division in 2023 that plans to embed this technology into the school. Dr. Baljori is the head of this initiative and has a vision for AI in the classrooms.
How do we essentially, when a student leaves Fresno State, in my opinion, they have to be an AI graduate because the workforce demand that type of skill set.
This skill set has already been incorporated into classrooms for many students, and the precedent is being set. This semester, there are over a dozen classes that had AI mentioned in either their title or the description of the course, and it will only go up from here.
And so they want you to have your own writing style or your own creative strategy and then use it to sort of help you out, help emphasize and like wrap things up. They don't necessarily want you to take the assignment and give the entire thing to AI.
AI is a tool that many students can use for good, but it could also cause issues down the road for schools when it comes to cheating and dishonesty. For example, this video is AI. The issue of cheating versus using it as a tool is a concern for students and teachers alike, especially in collaborative projects in class.
Like I've had some group members completely copy and paste directly.
But despite this, AI is here to stay. At Fresno State, Isaac Marquez, Fresno State Focus.
That AI video of Isaac was made only using his voice and a still photo. Sora 2 AI did the rest. Coming up in sports, see how the football team is preparing for the game against Boise State with a change at quarterback.
And check out the breakdown of Game 4 of the World Series ahead of tonight's Game 5. Stay tuned for your focus on sports.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head.
Up in my head.
I got that bulldog spirit up in my head. Up in my head to stay. I got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit up in my head, deep in my heart, down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit all over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit
deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart, deep in my heart.
Welcome back. I'm Finley Pendergast with your focus on sports. Let's start with the Fresno State football team, who is back on the road this Saturday and looking to snap their 2-game losing streak. In his weekly Monday press conference, head coach Matt Entz talked about turning the page, specifically on the shutout loss to San Diego State. Entz explained that the team talked about the areas of improvement that need to happen, but at the same time, we got to learn from it. We can't let this loss, this hangover, impact our preparation. It seems that this attitude is working, especially with their newly named starting quarterback, Carson Conklin.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a rough time, but we kind of took that personal, and especially me. I got to play better for my teammates, and we put a lot of work into this, but we're ready. It's kind of a wake-up call for all of us, but we're going to come back.
This weekend, the Bulldogs are bringing more than just a new starting quarterback, but also the milk can. The Dogs will look to keep possession of the traveling trophy with a victory on Saturday in Boise. From the football field to the golf course, Amelia Garibaldi of the Fresno State women's golf team is headed back to Fresno with some hardware. Garibaldi won her first collegiate tournament of her career at the Clash at Boulder Creek in Nevada. Going into the third and final round of the tournament, Garibaldi sat tied for 4th place at 5 under par. A final round 6 under jolted her to the top of that leaderboard. Her final round 66 was a career low that included 6 straight birdies, stretching from the 13th hole all the way to the clubhouse. I mean, talk about coming in clutch. As for the team, the Bulldogs finished in a tie for 7th place in their final tournament of the fall season. On to America's pastime, the Toronto Blue Jays look to take control of the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 5, which is set to get underway in about 30 minutes. Last night, the Jays tied the series up. The Dodgers took an early lead, but that did not last long, thanks to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who launched this two-run home run off of Shohei Ohtani in the top of the third. Guerrero Jr. has been white hot, hitting .419 over the last 15 games. After the 18-inning loss on Tuesday, Guerrero Jr. and the Jays brought the energy in Game 4. Ohtani stepped up in the 5th inning, looking to tie the game, but Shane Bieber struck him out on this paint job. Bieber went 5 1/3 innings, allowing just 1 run. Down 6-1, the Dodgers scored 1 in the 9th, but their rally was cut short. The Blue Jays tied the series at 2 games apiece and will look to take a 3-2 series lead tonight. First pitch for Game 5 is set for 5 p.m. And there are plenty of Fresno State teams playing in the coming days. Women's tennis is at the Dennis Riza Collegiate Invite from tomorrow until Sunday. Women's volleyball is at Colorado State tomorrow night. Women's soccer is celebrating senior night against San Jose State tomorrow as they look for a spot in the Mountain West tournament. And on Halloween, the cross-country team will be at the Mountain West Championship. Also on Halloween, the equestrian team will be in Waco, Texas, taking on those Baylor Bears. Here to talk more about tomorrow's senior night for soccer, Nicholas Cummins is in the studio with a special guest. Nick?
Thanks, Finley. Senior Day is an emotional day for all involved. With me today is Brian Welch, play-by-play announcer for Fresno State Soccer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nick. You know, it's great to be back in the studio.
Welcome back. First off, I want to start with, you've called the games for these seniors and even multiple seasons of those seniors.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you?
You know what it means to me that I get to see their playing throughout their 4 years, but especially making their relationships, but also with the players, but also with the parents, because the parents watch the broadcast as well, and being able to have that connection from somebody that's watching in Hawaii or in California or even across the United States or even across the world. We have a senior, Samaya Battaglia, who grew up in Australia. And for me, it's like you would be able to experience and be able to talk with everybody. That's the great, all 4 years, you know.
4 years, lots of games, lots of moments. Let's talking about this season. What has been your favorite moment so far?
I knew you were going to ask me that, Nick, because I think the last home match, trailing 2-0, get 3 unanswered, and a great Nia Shelton score in the second half. That was a play of the week on Bulldog Insider, and I think that was the turning point for the Bulldogs in the second half of the season. And you know what? They fell against Air Force last week, but you want to rebound and send out your seniors the right way starting tomorrow night.
I mean, tomorrow night, it's the last game, regular season, looking to potentially get into the conference tournament. What are you looking forward to tomorrow night?
How about this? Rivalry night. Hey, you're going up against San Jose State. Probably it's the final conference meeting against the Spartans. Probably the final meeting ever between the two programs to see what's going to happen with scheduling the next couple of years. I think the Bulldogs have to strike while the iron's hot. You have to get goals on the Spartan squad early, and also great defense from the goalkeeper, Savani Battaglia. Battaglia had a great saves last time at home against Grand Canyon. Watch out for good defense, good offense, and a good recipe for a victory on senior night. Got to send the seniors out the right way, right, Nick?
Yep. One last question. Who are you going to miss calling the most?
That's a tough question. That's a loaded question there, Nick, because every senior has made a difference. And I think for me, you can't really pick one player. I think it's a whole collective being able to welcome me in, be able to ask questions, but also getting to know their families, especially Nia Shelton. I got to meet her mom and dad a couple weeks ago. Great family, and I think that being able to know the family and being able to know the players has been some of my favorite memories. And I can't really put a number on a player.
Thank you so much for joining us, Brian. That's your Focus on Sports. Back to you, Chelsea.
Small local businesses in Fresno County say customer loyalty is what keeps them standing against big box competition. Kaya Wall shows us how one family-run pumpkin patch in Clovis is growing thanks to its community.
Fall has arrived at Wild Patch Pumpkins off Villa and Bullard in Clovis. For farmers Chase Collins and Nolan Doss, this patch is more than just a seasonal business. It's their livelihood.
This is our 6th year. We grow everything in Madera and then harvest out here as we need it.
Collins calls Wild Patch Pumpkins an old-fashioned patch, keeping things simple and local.
I would call this one more like the old-fashioned pumpkin patch rather than all the rides and stuff. It's real simple here. We got food on the weekends. Everything's locally grown.
Co-owner Nolan Doss says operating small helps them stay in control without relying on big distributors.
It gave us an opportunity not to be tide or to a wholesaler or have to depend on somebody else to get rid of our crop.
For the family running the stand, every pumpkin sold is personal, but for the customers, they are buying something real and local.
Customers like Holly Salmon say that personal connection is about more than just pumpkins. It's about keeping traditions alive.
If we didn't really run traditions like this anymore, I feel like we wouldn't really have a grasp on holidays.
According to the Business Journal of Fresno, small businesses make up about 52.7% of jobs in Fresno County. Nationwide, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce reports that small businesses account for 99.9% of all U.S. firms. For Collins and Doss, each returning customer is a reminder that connections can still keep small businesses thriving. Kaya Walls, Fresno State Focus.
Here in Fresno, Southeast Asian culture is all around us. From the malls of River Park to the hole-in-the-walls of Belmont, Thai and Lao cuisine could be found in many places. But where are the Cambodians found in that diaspora?
In Fresno, you can find Southeast Asia in just about anywhere. Thai and Lao restaurants are a staple on Belmont. Even River Park has embraced flavors from across the Pacific. But for Cambodians who make up a large population of the Southeast Asian community, visibility is hard to find. Inside this corner restaurant in Fresno, the smell of lemongrass fills the air. It's the only Cambodian restaurant in town where one woman keeps Khmer culture alive through food.
Fast food. I've been over there for 18 years. You know how cook Chinese food though? It's like you get tired, right? You've been there too long. And me and my husband, we thinking that I want to open Cambodian cuisine in Fresno. So we the only one.
Here you won't find pad thai or banh mi like most people recognize. Instead, the menu is filled with Khmer classics like amak, lokla, and the iconic beef sticks, dishes that are rarely seen outside the homeland.
Khmer ingredient for restaurant, it's very difficult. My husband, he got all the ingredient. He paid for it from Washington, D.C.
Fresno is home to one of the largest Southeast Asian populations in the country.
Cambodian dishes. I actually don't know anything about that.
I've never really heard about it. There's just like all the countries in nature, they're all like the same to me.
Cambodians are still out there carving their space here in Fresno, reminding people that the Khmer people are just as much a part of the Southeast Asian community as everyone else. I'm Ronan Vanti, Fresno State Focus.
Celebrating and sustaining culture happens all around campus. The Cross-Cultural and Gender Center was a place for people to grow in more ways than one. Students were given the utensils to grow a flower in a mason jar. They were shown step by step, rocks first, then dirt, then seeds, then water. Amelia Holgan is a student assistant for the American Indian Programs and Services and was one who came up with this idea.
As someone that is Indigenous and Northern Chumash, I think it's very important to have connections to the land. I know students have showed interest before in wanting to do plants and cultivating in other areas, so I was excited to put something together that let students have a hands-on experience.
The event lasted until 12 p.m. and students were able to take home their plants along with advice from the students on how much water you need to plant.
The Student Health and Counseling Center hosted an event about drunk driving and responsibility. The event started with a presentation for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Talking points included knowing your limits, alternatives for impaired driving, and the consequences. Representatives from the Health Center also gave statistics like how over 40% of students use designated drivers, and why it's important to be informed. At the presentation, there were educational games like pouring drinks to know the average limits, and drunk goggle sobriety tests that show the dangers of being impaired. Next week, and that's our show. Next week of Fresno State Focus, we take a look at what makes line dancing culture unique.
Bye, see you next week.